It's a funny thing, this spiritual path. It's like I was sold, or I chose to believe, or I chose to hear, that the spiritual path is like a path to tranquility and bliss, and it's about feeling good all the time. For me, it hasn't really turned out like that. Not that it isn't peaceful and blissful, it's just not at all in the way I expected it to. I'm having half a day off work today, so I decided to go out into the forest. Seems like that's really all I want to do these days, just walk and walk, be outdoor. And today I had a lot of anger arising, rage almost. I can have that sometimes. Like it's some deep tensions releasing in my body, which I think is associated with how I hold my identity together. And when they loosen, there's like these old tensions that rises to the surface. And the old coping pattern was to find a reason for them. Like, oh, society is so unfair, and this is not at all what I expected, and this is too expensive. And yes, all of that might be true, which makes it very seductive. But that is not the reason I'm feeling angry right now. That's not the reason for my rage. Because this kind of anger, this kind of rage doesn't really have a story. It's like it's more so, it's physical, it's like in the body, and it's more an energy or like rush of emotions without without an actual clear story attached to it. And like today when I was out walking, symbolically I took the wrong turn and ended up on the wrong path, had to walk the exact same route back through the mud and not in the most beautiful scenery. So it's like my the whole circumstances in nature kind of mirrored back my inner state to me, of not having it floating on bliss. But I was walking and I could feel this, like, there's so much anger in my body right now, and my mind goes into wanting to tell a story. It tries to hook me, like almost like the rage or the anger is trying to justify itself. Like, this is the reason why it exists, and this is why we need to feed it. So it's like constant, like, no, letting go. The thought can pass and the anger can stay. It doesn't need to be justified. It's just there. And then this is the interesting flip, or whatever you should say, because what makes it linger, or what makes it keep twisting and turning, is that I don't let it flow freely. There is something in me that's almost localizing it to a specific part in the body. Like, it needs to go away by shrinking back to where it came from. But the experience is more, it wants to expand so much so that it just disappears into smoke. But there's almost like a tension that wants to control it and not allow it to flow all over. And putting it into words, it sounds almost silly. And I guess words can never do the full experience really justice. But it's like the ego, or the separate self, or the way I think about myself, have this root into tension patterns in my body. And these tension patterns can stay even though I've let go of my thoughts. So my thoughts pass by as though they were clouds on the sky, but the tension in my body there is still an identification with them, as though they are me, like this tension around my throat, or a little bit of like contraction in my forehead, or like upper like head region. Like those are me. So if I let them go, it almost feels like death, or like a great loss, that it's like an impossibility to do. And so so these tensions kind of keeps the anger or the rage trapped. Like it's dangerous if the anger moves places in the body. But that's so bizarre. Like no one has, very few people have traumatic injuries by feeling anger in their full body. I mean, rationally, I understand that, but it feels like it is not allowed to move in certain directions. And I haven't had this so much myself, I think, but I've also heard people say that if you allow it to move, that means you will act it out, as though you will do things you regret, say things you regret, which is also a bit of a false narrative, because letting it move is not the same as allowing it to take the wheels. I think the opposite is true. Trying to pretend that it's not there, push it away, make it smaller, make it go away. Those are the things that increase the risk of it, like actually hooking onto these thoughts of like, oh, this is the fault, that why I'm feeling this way, and this is what I need to tell this person, and speak from the anger rather than speak from your being, from your truth, while anger is present, which for me is like two completely different things to do. I can be very grounded and still have the anger flowing through me and twisting and turning all over my inner my inner being. But for me, it takes courage to do that, because usually on days like these, for example, it wants to move in areas of my body where it hasn't been allowed before. And there's always a layer of trust, of like, this is part of the letting go. This is part of dropping my belief of who I am. It's not just in the mind, it's intentions in the body. And the practice, or the unfoldment, the realignment, at least for me, isn't done on a planned schedule. Like, it shows up whenever it shows up, and it invites me to do the job then and there. And sometimes I don't have the resources, I don't have the energy, I don't even notice it. But sometimes I do. And yeah, I think that's the real work of realignment. Realignment isn't a blissful journey. It's quite gruesome in the sense that it's constantly challenging me or people to do things differently, to feel feelings, to let go of control, not narrating our inner lives, daring to look, daring to show up. Yeah. And I was listening to a talk of Adyashanti the other day. I can have these different episodes where I just listen to the same teachers, and Adyashanti is with me right now. And what he said was that his teacher had said, only phonies get enlightened. And I think this is what he's trying to point to, or what his teacher pointed to, that showing up, challenging the way we usually do things, the way we hold ourselves together. Because with this anger, for instance, with me now, I could easily contract, pretend it's not there, put a lid on it, and then suffer mildly. It wouldn't be a huge thing, but I would know it's there. I would know that I'm not being completely honest. I'm not looking inside of me. I'm like pretending that this isn't happening. And I pay the price for that. I pay the price of peace, of alignment, of being completely at ease. But the way to go to the other side, so to speak, or to not be a phony, is to be honest and to allow it to move and to feel it. And that takes courage. But honestly, I think that's the only way to do it. There is no cheap ticket out. If I dodge this bullet, or if I dodge this class, I guess it's a better way of phrasing it, well then, that's a limitation. There will probably be another time, so if I miss once, it's not like it's gone forever. But there's no real escape. Like, there's no sugar-coated way to living in alignment that doesn't include challenging these contractions in the body, feeling the feelings and being with them. Yeah. Taking the invitations from life when they show up. Yes. Oh, and also what I wanted to say, actually, what I wanted to say in the beginning is that when I do that, when I allow this anger to move, all of a sudden I realize that I think it's actually caged power. So it's like some kind of a life force or the power of nature, of life, that's trying to move through me, but it feels like anger because my ego condition, or my conditioning, or my separate self belief of who I am in the body is like coming up against this really powerful energy. And when it's like caged like that, it feels like rage, but when it gets to move, it feels like quite overwhelming power. And not like the raging destructive power, but like this of like, vroom, I am life. I stand in my own center. So there is like a jewel inside of these unpleasant journeys. Because it can feel like a free fall. Once you like, okay, I'm not gonna block it, I'm gonna allow it to move. That is not comfortable. That is like jumping off a cliff. And not once, but several times, staying in free fall, breathing, trusting that your emotions can't really harm you. I mean, if you act from them, you could cause harm, but in themselves, feeling them in your body, very few people have been harmed by feeling emotions. Even though it can feel like that, but they're just sensations. Yeah. Yes, I guess that was the forest philosophy of today. Living your insights. Yes. And yeah, thank you for joining me during this little reflection, and I hope to see you next time. Take care, my friend.